What's up, y'all? It's your girl J. Renee with Prison Riot Radio. I hope that you're doing well. This afternoon, we got a brother by the name of Tysheem Crocker on the phone. He's going to talk to us about his wrongful conviction, and he's also going to talk to us about his literary work. Let's jump right into it. What's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm incarcerated in Pennsylvania. I've been here 24 and a half years unjustly. Convicted as a co-conspirator in a homicide case from the 90s. And at this current point, the Innocence Project had intervened and assisted me in trying to discover some new information. We were successful at that.
Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Somerset. This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that they were successful. Continue, please.
We were successful at gathering new information that proves my innocence. And earlier this year, January 2022, a post-conviction motion was filed on my behalf by the Chavez Free Law Firm to either retry me or exonerate me. And at this current moment, I'm still incarcerated waiting on a judge to either rule, set a date for a retrial, or release me. I've been locked up since 1998. And at this point, it's also a petition that DJ Coco Chanel started. She currently has a radio show on 94.5 The Block in New York, the tri-state area. And you can go to that petition on change.org and support by signing, sharing, and retweeting. I need as much support as possible at this current moment because I shouldn't still be incarcerated with the information that was served on the District Attorney's Office of York, Pennsylvania, and furnished to the courts as well.
Okay. I'm glad that the Innocence Project has stepped in and is assisting you, but what is the issue with finding a judge to sign off on his paperwork? Like, what's the problem?
At this current point, I'm confused myself. I don't know why. Normally, it doesn't take this long. So I actually don't know, but I know we need some public support. And after you convicted, you have to file what is called a post-conviction relief motion, which is actually an appeal, or you starting and executing a new claim, or reopening your case. And in my case, we filed the post-conviction motion January 28th, 2022, with newly discovered evidence. It's been brought to our attention that the guy who testified against me was actually the killer. While I was on trial, we just knew he was the witness to this homicide, the only witness. The second witness that we discovered is a motel clerk who adamantly states to my investigators that she was suppressed, that she was kept from offering any information that was valuable to my defense when I was on trial in 1999. So those are the two claims that's before us. How we know that this guy was the killer is because the victim's mother was interviewed, and she revealed this to us, that two prosecutors that worked my case gave her the identity of her son's killer, but they never told us.
Wow. That's a lot. So that's a lot, bro. So you found this out, you filled out this information. Now let me ask you this before I ask that. So this witness that said she was suppressed, who suppressed her?
She was a motel clerk. So my case revolves around this alleged motel meeting. I could call it a fictitious and sensationalized meeting today because we have unimpeachable evidence that this never happened. In the past, I've always said it didn't happen, but nobody had to believe me because I had nothing to validate what I was saying.
Right.
Today, we have that information to validate that no meeting ever took place, and the prosecutors always knew this meeting didn't take place. However, they hung their hat on this meeting to wrap us up in the conspiracy.
Okay, I got it. And then you said that the prosecutors that worked your actual case told the mother who murdered her son and still put you on trial for it.
And still put me on trial for it. Still was my childhood friend. We started going out of town together. We was getting money together, and he got arrested for this crime.
Right.
And he brought me down with him.
Yeah, I know that was a lot to take in. Not only are you being accused of something that you didn't do, and you watching your life flash before your eyes, it's happening because of somebody that you trust. So I know that was an extra layer of everything. You know what I mean? So I hate that you went through that, bro, for real. So let's talk more about this paperwork. So we know now that you know this, there's papers that you filled out, and this is what you need signed off by a judge, correct? That's your new evidence.
Correct.
Okay. So what's the issue? Like, what's going on? Why hasn't it been signed off on?
This is I toss and turn about this all the time. I'm a deep thinker. I'm a cerebral person. I spend a lot of time trying to reflect and ponder and make things make sense. You know what I mean? And I'm not representing myself no more. I represented myself for 20 years.
Right.
Today I'm represented by the Chavez Freed Law Firm, the Chavez Freed Law Offices. And the way I came in contact, we became a client and attorney was through the Innocence Project.
Okay.
The Pennsylvania Innocence Project. So this is the first time that any paperwork has ever been submitted to a court by a lawyer on my behalf, by a trained eye, by a seasoned attorney on my behalf. Everything else that's been done with this case, and I'm in court year in, year out, was done by me.
Right. Dang. So I'm listening.
When I filed PCRA petitions on my own, they called me down there in 30 days. Right now in 2022, it's been 8 months. Why haven't they assigned the judge? I don't know. But I really believe that we the people have the power. So when people get involved, that's citizens of this country, this great country here that we call home. When people accept and believe in those first 3 words of the Constitution, we are the people, and if people get involved and our voices are heard, that's how we get things done. The backroom business is over. You understand what I'm saying, Jay Renee?
Yeah.
So it's like we got this petition going right now. DJ Coco Chanel started on my behalf a few months ago, and one of the things that we talked about in there was trying to get the public to reach out to reporters, the district attorney's office, and voice their concern, because it's not just me. It could happen to any of us. And we would want that. We would want the public, the community, to investigate and to be concerned about things like this.
Yeah, most definitely. I agree with both. I agree that the community usually has to become, the people have to usually become involved in things like this for justice to be served. You know what I mean? And I do have the petition and all of that. I will make sure that I include with your interview when I do the write-up. Sister sent it over to me, so we got that. So let me ask you this. This is just a question, and I'm wondering, are you allowed to file things on your own now that you have representation?
You're not. Under Commonwealth versus Jet, there can be no hybrid presentation. So I'm not allowed to file anything on my own. This is crazy, because this is the first time that I haven't been behind the wheel as it pertains to Commonwealth versus Crocker, my case. So I have to just wait and be patient.
Right.
I have no say so.
So what are they telling you? Are they giving you a timeline, or how's that going?
At my last attorney-client conference, we talked about the end of the year. If we didn't hear something, that we was gonna file some paperwork and try to get to the bottom of it. I honestly thought that when we filed that in January, that I would be home before my 45th birthday. Mm-hmm. And I'm still incarcerated. I turned 45 just a couple months ago, and I got almost 25 years in. So it's justice is not only blind. Sometimes it could be slow.
Yeah, that's true. That to write that in about the hybrid case, man, and to finally hook up with such a great entity that's known for helping people, and now it's just a waiting game. I know that can be kind of frustrating. What do you do to keep yourself motivated through those times where it seems like the end's not coming?
I'm a writer. My imagination is on a beam, so I sit down and I create content. I write. I write people. I write stories, and that's what keeps me going. That's what kept me going all these years. My imagination.
Right. So tell us more about your stories, bro.
I started writing books about 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. I want to say like 02, 03. I came across a book called The Coldest Winter Ever.
Okay,
I read that.
I'm familiar.
I came across a book called Be More Careful. Familiar. I read that. I ate that. Mm-hmm. I came across a book called Dutch. I ate that.
You already know I got them all.
and I was inspired by these writers. I was reading something that not only I could relate to, mm-hmm. but it was these voices, these tongues, the people delivering these stories. They come from where I come from, and they were speaking in a tongue that I could understand and a tone that I could respect, right. and that inspired me to want to write. I felt like I had seen a lot in my young. I came to jail at a very young age, but I had still seen a lot, right. And I felt like I've been through a lot. Like I had a lot of money at one time. I dated beautiful women. I've been through a murder trial. And I felt like let me sit down and let me try to write this story. So my first book is called Respect the Struggle.
Okay.
At the time, Jay, that I was writing this book, it was a wave going on where a lot of entertainers and rappers and celebrities were saying that they come from the struggle. Mm-hmm. So it was like the struggle is not just something that you're going through, but the struggle is a place.
Right.
It's a thing. You know what I mean? I felt like it's a heartbeat, exactly. So I felt like y'all gotta respect this. You can't respect the struggle unless you understand the struggle. And that's why I wrote that book.
Okay. How many books have you penned, you think? Or no?
I've penned 15 novels. Wow. I've penned 15 novels. Today I have Respect the Struggle is available. Mm-hmm. Street Generals Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 is available. Urban Royalty is available. Red Ruby, Urban Royalty 2 is available. The Ungodly Past is available. Any Day Could Be Your Last in the Jungle is available. And my newest book, mm-hmm. This book is nonfiction. It's called It Could Happen to Any of Us.
Yeah, I'm checking out the cover. I'm interested in reading it. I switched over to nonfiction like 20 years ago, actually. So this is definitely something that I plan on adding to my library. I think the title explains a lot of what's inside, but give us a little more insight on it, bro.
Oh man, I love this book right here. I love this book, Jay. The reason for this book is because it could happen to any of us. Is not a cliche. It's a reality. Like you could just be picked up walking home from work. You could be stopped in a car and shot, stopped in a car and arrested. You could be, cops could just run in your house and take you out your house and explain later. So it could happen to any of us. This book is an inspirational, motivational book. It's really to inspire. It doesn't center around my wrongful conviction, but I use this opportunity to tell people how I was wrongfully convicted. In this book, I interview a guy, one of the longest standing lifers in Pennsylvania. Mr. Russell Sewell has served 54 years. He shot someone in the arm when he was 18 years old in 1968. He hasn't been on the street since. The person succumbed to their injuries. So I thought that me sitting down with him would just give people a better idea of what is justice.
Right.
When is enough?
Right.
Is prison about how much suffering can you take, or is it about rehabilitation? You know what I'm saying? So I sat down with him and we talked about commutation in Pennsylvania, because at one time that seemed like that was my only option to ever see in the street again was through commutation. And then, Allah bless me, God bless me, you know what I mean, with a dream team, with the lawyers and investigators that I dreamt about, that I had dreams about long before I met them. But, so commutation is important. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted people to understand what that process was like and, how it works and how it doesn't work. The first chapter of this book is called 5 H's. And it's a philosophy, like a concept that I came up with one day while just sitting in the prison day room, just looking around, watching and analyzing and just taking in what I saw, what my eyes allowed me to see and comprehend. And it seemed like prison was something different to everybody. I could look at a guy over here, and he was in here just hanging out. So it was a hangout for him. This guy here, he should have been home years ago. He's hiding out. This guy here, he loves it here. It's like a hotel for him. Then this guy over here, he's on drugs. So it's like a hospital to him. And then, I'm forced to look at myself and continue to recognize myself, and I see a hostage. So I came up with the 5 H's.
Wow.
And I broke that down, hoping that when a young brother reads this chapter, he tries to find himself before it's too late and recognize himself as a hostage, as someone that needs to be trying to get home as soon as possible versus being in these joints hanging out.
Right. I definitely got to get this book, bro. We don't want to give them too much, though. We don't want to give them too much. I think that's enough right there. Where can this book and your other books be found? Amazon.com. You can find all my books there. It could happen to any of us. It's under my government name, Tysheem Crocker. My pen name is Boog De Niro. I started writing books under Boog because that's my street name, Boog. And I just added De Niro, probably to give it a little bit of flair, because that name was given to me too. A little panaz.
A little panache, exactly. Right. So all my books can be found under Boog De Niro. Also, I have a website.
Okay. What is
SGPUB1. Not the word one, but the number 1. And that's my website. We launched it in January 2022. All my books is there. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just working. I'm just trying to show them that prison hasn't defined me. It's only confined me.
All right, for sure, bro. Is there anything that you want to, leave with the people, or some last minute gems that you want to drop on them?
Look at success and failure with the same intensity. Look at success and failure with the same intensity, and take your time. Give yourself a chance, because anytime you're in a rush to get somewhere, 9 times out of 10 you haven't allowed the thought process to take place, and you make mistakes, and mistakes lead to things like this, being in prison for long periods of time when you don't have to go through this. So I went through this, and I hope my story in this new book is inspiring and helps people realize, young people, that you don't have to go through this. Take your time. There's so many opportunities today that exist for young people to get money, to get a bag, that didn't exist in the 90s when I got arrested. All we had was the streets. It's not like that today. So stay out them streets and give yourself a chance. And one last thing, if you get a chance, please go read that petition. This is all fact. Check it out. Thank you to DJ Coco Chanel, who's on 94.5 The Block. She got a morning show with Miss Jones. Check this petition out. Add your signature to it. It's 10 reasons I should be exonerated. There is 6 things that you could do to help speed up my exonerating process.